Hi, boys and girls. We are ready to start Activity Book page 2.1, which goes along with Chapter 2 in your reader. So go ahead and you need your activity book and your reader. And we're going to do this together. And this is very important that you're thinking through what we're doing and following along, because you are, throughout this unit, going to be expected to do more on your own. So the first thing, when I look at Activity Book page 2.1, the first thing they've given us is some vocabulary words. Now, we've already done some of these in our journal, so we are going to rewrite the definitions here. If we didn't have our vocabulary journal, we could just look in the glossary at the end of the book, but we're going to use our definitions from our vocabulary journal for the most part. So the first word is empire. Let's say that together. Empire. An empire is and you're going to have to write small, a large area of land controlled by one person. And remember, that person is an emperor, which is a male, a man, or an empress, which would be a woman. So pause the video if you need to write that definition. The next word is historian. Say it with me. Historian. A historian is a person who writes about, or is an expert in history. So maybe you've heard the term history buff. It would be a history buff. Again, pause the video if you need to and get that definition down. The next word is threat. Say it with me. Threat. It's someone or something that is or may be dangerous. Someone or something that is or may be dangerous. The next word is taunt. Say it with me. Taunt. It means to tease or make fun. To tease or make fun of someone, and it would be upsetting to that person. The last one is legendary. Say it with me. Legendary. And we see the root word legend in there. And this is well known from an old story passed down long ago. And it's not true. There's some things that aren't true in the legend. It's sort of exaggerated. So make sure you have those vocabulary words written down and those definitions. Let's go back and say the words again together, or repeat after me. Empire, historian, and we can see our OR in there for our spelling pattern. Next is threat, taunt, legendary. Now let's look at the next part of our directions. It says true or false. Circle the correct answer. So they've given us a statement, and we're going to circle true or false. We're going to add something to this as we're doing this. We are going to correct the statement to make it true. So number 1 says King Amulius was the father of Romulus and Remus. And at the beginning, the other question we're going to listen for the answer to is, the servant saw the twins as a threat and tried to have them drowned. So I'm going to go ahead and read page 10 of The Legend of Romulus and Remus. Say those names with me. Romulus, Remus. Romulus, Remus. And this is a legend. Here we go. So we're listening for who the father is and who wanted to drown them. We learned last time that Rome started as a small town and grew to become a big city. Then it grew some more until it became a great empire. That's what historians tell us. The Romans themselves have a story about how their city got started that they like to tell. They say that Rome was founded by twins who had been saved by a wolf. The twins were named Romulus and Remus. They were the children of a woman named Rhea Silvia and the god Mars. Their mother loved them, but her brother, the king of Latium, did not. He saw the boys as a threat. He thought they might grow up and take his crown from him. The king told one of his servants to find the twins and drown them in the Tiber River. So let's go back for a moment to number 1. King Romulus was the father of Romulus and Remus. When we read, we find that the mom was a woman named Rhea Silvia. Maybe, my pen's not working. And the father was the god Mars. So for number 1, I'm going to circle false. And the false part of this is that King Romulus was their father. It was actually Mars, the god Mars. And then question number 2, did the servant see them as a threat or someone else? Well, here it says he saw the boys as a threat, and the he is referring to the king of Latium or Latium. So this is also false. And it wasn't the servant that saw them as a threat. It was the king saw the twins as a threat. And he ordered the servant to drown them. Let's keep going. Here's page 13. The king of Latium told one of his servants to drown Romulus and Remus. So now we've done questions 1 and 2. Now we're going to be looking for the answer to number 3, which says, the wolf found and cared for the twins after they washed up on the riverbank. So we're listening to see if the wolf saved them and took care of them. The servant found the twins, but he could not bring himself to drown them. Instead, he put the boys in a basket. Then he set the basket in the river. The basket floated downstream. It drifted and drifted until at last it washed up on the banks of the river. A she-wolf found the twins. She saw that they were hungry. She took them to her cave. There, she gave them the same milk she fed her wolf pups. So is it true or false that a wolf found and cared for the twins after they washed up? That is true. That is true. Excellent. So, later the twins were adopted by a shepherd. I'm on page 13. The shepherd raised them well. They grew up to be smart and strong. When they were 18, Romulus and Remus decided to create a city of their own. They wanted to build a city on the banks of the Tiber River, somewhere among the 7 hills, not far from where they had washed ashore as babies. So here's a picture of Romulus and Remus. They were saved by a kind she-wolf and later raised by a shepherd. So now we know why there are 2 babies sitting with some wolves. So now we're at question number 4. Romulus and Remus started fighting because they could not agree on where to build their new city. Let's read and see if that's true. Soon, however, the brothers began to fight. "Let's build our city here," said Romulus, pointing to a hill. "No," said Remus, "this hill over here is a much better spot." So each brother started building his own city on a different hill. Each knew that it would be important to have a strong wall to protect the city he was building. After a few days, Remus decided to visit Romulus to see how his city was coming along. It takes a long time to build a city, so Remus did not expect Romulus's city to be finished. He decided, however, to taunt his brother and made fun of his unfinished wall. "You call that a wall?" he said. "That wall would not keep anyone out." Then, to make his point, he stepped over the wall. So, for question number 4, Romulus and Remus started fighting because they could not agree on where to build their new city. Is that true or is that false? That is true. They did start to fight. So now, page 16. That made Romulus angry. He and Remus started to fight, no longer remembering that they were fighting one another. Romulus and Remus battled with all their might. Suddenly, Remus collapsed, fell to the ground, and died. When Romulus saw what he had done, he began to cry. He had not wished to kill his brother. He dug a grave for Remus. Romulus went on building his city. He named it Rome after himself. The rest, as they say, is history. Rome grew and grew. It became a great city, the center of a mighty empire. That is quite a legend, isn't it? It seems almost silly. So now we want to look at question number 5. Question number 5 says, the government of Rome made 2 statues to honor Romulus and Remus. The government of Rome made coins. Oh, well, there answers our question for number 5, doesn't it? Number 5, it's false. They didn't make statues, they made coins. So we're going to fix that to make it a true statement. The coins showed 2 young boys reaching up to touch a she-wolf. The people of Rome handed these coins back and forth. They used them to buy food and drinks. They used them to pay bills and buy clothing. And all of them knew who the 2 boys on the coin were. They were Romulus and Remus, the legendary founders of Rome. And there's a picture of the ancient Roman coin showing Romulus and Remus with the she-wolf. It's all a little hard to make out, but you can see it a little bit. So let's take a look. Oh, I forgot to put it in here. We're going to take a look at question number 6, and I'm actually going to do that in another video. So take a break and then come on back and we will do question number 6 together.